this is the agenda that we will follow today. So now we'll leave the floor to Antonio Montalvo, who will talk about general requirements of the Verifactory second open call. So please, Antonio, the floor is yours. I will stop sharing and you can continue.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Prior to starting speaking about the general requirements, if we go through the agenda, this is the first step to make you understand what the open call is about. Then Ali is going to present a full proposal template, which is basically what you will need to fulfill in order to apply for the call. And then also very important, Rodolfo, our colleague Rodolfo, we talk about the SME collaboration with artists, which is the key point of this project. So let me share my screen. Okay, I think, sorry. So what is Verifactory? Verifactory is one of the European Union initiatives. And in this scenario of initiatives from the European Commission, the main will is to help manufacturing SME grow and digitalize and be capable of be competitive and entering new markets. The novelty of this project is that for the first time ever, we are asking, we're requesting for the collaboration of artists in this, I would say, support to make the manufacturing SMEs of Europe be more competitive. So far, we have been used to different projects that made this collaboration between technology suppliers and manufacturing SMEs, and out of it make a new product, a new process, a better, I would say, product and processes to make better products. Here we are including the artists and their capability of providing their creativity skills to make this improvement possible. So this is very important to understand from the beginning, because for the applications, you will see that it is in the core of the project. So basically, again, what we want is to provide the means for the manufacturing SMEs to reduce the production cost, to make redesigns of the products, and of course to make their products be more competitive in the market and get a better outreach and a wider outreach. Another important thing is that for that we are using our own marketplace that is going to provide the means to the manufacturing SMEs to buy technology services, technology and services, and on the other side, technology suppliers and artists to sell their technology and services to the manufacturing SMEs. And this will happen if you, for the experiments that we will see that can be selected throughout the experiment process, and then also afterwards. So we are going to see this message in different times in today's presentations, that in Verifactory, what we are providing is we are going to provide funds, but for these three types or category of applicants: the manufacturing SMEs, the artists, and the tech suppliers. when we are talking about manufacturing SMEs, is the first thing is that, of course, SMEs includes mid-cap. So just to be very synthetic, if your company has less than 3,000 employees, you can apply. And the other thing is that it has to be manufacturing company. So it has to have a factory. It has to produce products. We are not going to admit or make eligible companies that don't have any factory behind. So, of course, the main purpose is that, again, we are going to help those manufacturing companies to improve their products and their processes. And one of the players that is going to provide I would say, their skills to make this possible is the artists. So the artists are going to collaborate with them and make it possible to design and co-create new products and services. And finally, the tech suppliers that, of course, they need to be involved in the technologies that can be supplied, like advanced robotics and technology for lean agile production. And they will collaborate with artists and manufacturing companies to make a consortium that is the one that can apply and in the end get the funds if they are selected. What we are offering is a program which is called the Knowledge Transfer Program. In this case, we are going to fund up to 9 KTs. KT stands for Knowledge Transfer Experiments. So 9 experiments, we call them KTs. And the KTs are composed of, again, and I will insist a lot on that because we've got many questions from different potential applicants on whether the consortia can be composed of different elements. And no, I mean, the 3 mandatory components are 1 manufacturing SME or mid-cap, 1 artist, and 1 technology supplier. We already are in the second call. So we launched the first call last year and we selected 7 KTEs. So now we are going to select 9. And the funds that the selected KTEs are going to receive is 200,000 funds, which is actually divided in 50,000 for the manufacturing company, 50,000 for the artist, and 100,000 for the technology supplier. And another important thing is that we are focusing on 6 industry sectors that will be prioritized. It doesn't mean that you cannot, if you come from another sector, you cannot apply, you can. But our idea is that all the KTs are dealing with these sectors. They can deal with other sectors at the same time, but at least with one of these 6, which are plastic and rubber, furniture and wood, food and agriculture, construction, metal and machinery, textile and leather. So for those who are not familiar with Better Factory, and for those who have already participated in one of the different steps, let me remind how this open call has been divided. So we did the first step from April to June this year, from the 25th of April until the 25th of June, which was called the expressions of interest step. And at that time, individual applicants, either manufacturing companies or technology suppliers or artists, they could individually apply for what we call an expression of interest. For them, some of them were pre-selected. We made a pre-selection of them, and those which were pre-selected, they went through a second step, which is what we have called the matchmaking process, in which we have helped these individual companies to match between themselves and make it possible to form a consortium of one manufacturing company plus one tech supplier plus one artist. So this is the first two steps are already done, and now we are in the third step, which is the open call, properly speaking. It's what we call the full proposals from consortia. This was open on the 1st of September this year, and it will end on the 15th of November, so it's about 1 month to go. And in this step, we are asking for applicants which have to be, as I say, and I insist, one manufacturing company plus one technology supplier plus one artist. We have received many questions from people saying, what happens if I have not participated in the first steps? It happens nothing. You can still apply. This is a call which is called an open call. So it is open to everybody. Of course, those who have followed the first step and the second step, they will be able to apply to this third step with, I would say, some support from our side, and they will have been able to form a consortium following our recommendations and our support. But if you haven't participated in the first two steps, or you were not pre-selected after the first step, you can still apply with your own consortium, and you will be treated equally. I mean, this process is completely independent, and we start from scratch. We start from zero, and after the deadline, there will be a selection process, which is going to be completely independent. So we get the submission of the proposals up to the 15th of November. Then we do an eligibility check, which is a very quick check to see if all the consortia have one manufacturing SME, one, etc. If they come from an eligible country, etc. You have all this information explained in the guide for applicants. You can go to our microsite regarding this call, and you get. We are highly recommending you to read all the documents that are there, but it's a very simple and automatic check. And then there is an internal and external evaluation. It means that the 3 experts will evaluate every proposal. So each proposal will be evaluated by 3 independent evaluators. Internal means that these evaluators come from members of the consortium, of the Better Factory Consortium. External are, of course, evaluators that have are external to the consortium, but all of them are experts in these in the technologies and the business we are talking about. After that, there will be a consensus meeting, which is a meeting that happens within the selection committee. The selection committee is a committee composed of different members of the Better Factory Consortium, plus 2 of the evaluation of 2 of the evaluators that can be invited to the selection committee. After that, we make a first pre-selection of 16 finalists, and these finalists will be invited to a jury day to pitch in front of the jury, and they will have or if you apply and you are pre-selected, you will pitch in front of this jury. And after that, we will make the selection of 9 KTs that will sign a subgrant agreement, and they will start the KT program, which is a 16-month experiment program. About the timeline for this call, we are now here. We are in October, so we are in the middle of the full proposal submission. And there are different steps that need to be done before the start of this second KTE round, which is going to happen on the 1st of March. The jury day will happen in January, so that we are going to follow this evaluation and selection process, consensus meeting. And so if you are finalist, selected as finalist, you will have to pitch by the end of January. You will have 3 weeks to prepare this pitch. And if you are selected as a finalist, you will be in contact with all of us. We will let you know how you have to do your speech and the pitch. And after that, we will sign the subgrant agreement and start on the 1st of March. So basically, what's the value proposition for the manufacturing SMEs? It's not, as I say, it's not only about funding, but which is probably the most attractive for all of you. It will be 50,000 euros, but you will also have other services that will be provided by the consortium, especially I would say the investment support is very important, because you will receive business mentoring to transform your business model. You will have access to bank and investors for scaling up your new products and services, but you will also have a lot of training on the lean agile production, on the RAMP platform. RAMP is something that's going to help you a lot to find, in the end and after the project, potential providers and suppliers to you. For the artists, regarding the funds, is they say 50K, the same as for the manufacturing SMEs. You will also have a lot of mentoring coming from our art mentors. Rodolfo will also talk about this in his presentation later on. And also training on RAMP. For the tech suppliers, you are going to get most of the half of the 200,000 euros support, because we understand that you might have to make your own investment in equipment and things like that to make it possible to provide this technology and fine-tune your technology for the use of the experiment. And also you will receive some business support, training, and RAMP. Regarding the eligibility criteria, so again, the consortia have to be composed of one manufacturing company, one artist, and one tech supplier. All the partners need to be established in an eligible country. And in an eligible country, in terms of Horizon 2020 criteria, have to be EU members or H2020 associated countries. You have the list, the complete list of these associated countries in the guide for applicants. And also very important for people who ask for that, the United Kingdom is also eligible for this project. Manufacturing company, as I said at the beginning, means an SME or a slightly bigger company or a mid-cap, so less than 3,000 employees. And that has to be involved in the production of goods in a factory. So you need to have a factory and you need to provide and to produce goods. And you have to demonstrate that, by the way. My colleague Ali Muhammad will explain to you how you will have to provide all this information. So for the technology supplier, also it has to be an SME up to MICAP, so less than 3,000 employees. And in this case, they are developing and producing and selling software applications or hardware related to the technologies we are talking about in Better Factory. And for the artists, they have to be also an SME, a big company, mid-cap, registered under this NACE code 9003 artistic creation. We have received a lot of questions regarding this. And I mean, this is mandatory. If you don't have this NACE code, you cannot participate in this code, or you can be a self-employed individual or freelancer. And of course, not all the artists, not only because they have to have this NACE code 9003, but also we are not admitting any kind of artist. It has to be an artist dealing with industry, working already with the industry in different areas, and of course that they can provide their creativity to improve products. Okay, last but not least, the full proposal, how you can apply. There is a microsite which is very important for you to note, which is betterfactory.fundingbox.com, and there you will find all the information you need. First, in a short front-end presentation, but also in all the documents that are available for reading or fulfillment. So we highly recommend you to read first the guide for applicants, where everything is explained in detail. What are the eligibility criteria? What are how the evaluation process is going to be, the selection process, what happens after you are selected, etc., etc. Then there is a frequently asked questions document, also, which is a dynamic document that is updated every 2 weeks with the questions you are making, if there is something new that hasn't been replied before. This is for reading. Now, for fulfilling, you have the full proposal template. And as I said, Ali is going to talk to you in a few minutes about how you can fulfill this full proposal. What is the purpose and what is the information you are asked to provide to us? Because this is the key, I would say, document that is going to help the evaluators to make a proper assessment of your proposal. Then there is a budget estimation template. This is also a template. It is in Excel. So the full proposal template is in Word. You will have to, once it is finished, to transform it into PDF, and you will have to upload this template together with a budget estimation template, which is an Excel template. You will have to upload them into the online application form. The online application form is also available in Word format, so you can work offline. And once you have finalized it, you can upload everything to the online application form. Again, in this site, you will have a button that is called Apply Now, and then you will be able to start the process with the different chapters, which is basically you will need to provide legal information, basic information about the 3 companies, and then the full proposal template and the budget template fulfilled. So if you have any questions, apart from the Q&A session that will happen once we are done today, there is also a help desk, which is working 24 hours. and this is the link to the help desk. And you can also read about the previous success stories from the first call in this link. So from my side, this is all. I think the best way for you, if you have any questions, is to wait until all the 3 presentations are done, and we can answer to your questions later on in a specific session. So I give you back the floor to.
Yes, thank you very much, Antonio. So I think now you can stop sharing. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And now we'll leave the floor to Ali, who is going to talk about the full proposal template and preparation. So please, Ali, if you want to share your screen.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Ali, and I'm going to present the proposal template. I have been watching your questions and answers. So I think we will go through them in the very end. Let me share my screen. Okay, so you can see my screen. I'm going to turn my video off because of the bandwidth. So this is if you are going to the Or Better Factory open call, and you click the process of the second open call, apply until 15th of November. You end up on this site, and this is the place where you download. I think Antonio was showed. So when you click this, you end up with a template, and that's the template is this one. So this is the most important task you have to do, beside building a consortium, beside finding 3 partners. You have to write down this proposal and submit it, because first of all, this is the proposal which we will use or the experts will use to decide that do you qualify and what is your ranking and so on. The second thing is that this proposal is going to become your contract. So what you write in the proposal, on that basis you're selected, and that becomes your contract. So it means that then you have signed this as become a contract, and this is what you will be doing the rest of the project. So be very careful, specific, ambitious, and realistic when you write this document. So some rules. So if you see in this proposal, there are certain things which are highlighted green. If something is highlighted in green in the proposal template, it means that these are instructions. You just read them, you have to follow them, and you can just delete them. So for example, this first paragraph is just described that what should be the size of the font, what should be the minimum page size, and so on. And so you follow that and you delete this paragraph, so you don't have to keep it. The things which are highlighted yellow are the ones you have to write. These are the things which you can edit. So you should actually write down, if some, for example, if you look at here, the name of the company is highlighted in yellow. It means that you have to change and write the name of the company. You do not change this. This remains like this here. So it is the manufacturing company, and so on. Executive summary of the is like an abstract. Normally you write it in the very end. Maybe you write some sort of concept at the start, and then you finalize it at the very end of the writing the proposal. It should not be more than, I think, half a page, but it should define the core of your innovation, the core thing, what you're going to develop and deliver during the project. How is it impacting your business and so on. So it's like a half a page summary of your whole project. So when your proposal will be evaluated, it will have three criteria. Three things will be evaluated. The first one would be the excellence. So excellence defined that how innovative, how novel, how wonderful, how creative your idea is. So please describe it here in the excellence. So project description provide like what is the project about, why is it valuable for your organization, for each of you, why are you participating. Just to be clear, there was a question regarding this. As you can see that the template requires you to have 3 partners, so you cannot apply as 1 or 2 partners. You have to have 3 partners, each of one kind or one of each kind. So in the same way here, when you will write the proposal, you will see that everywhere the proposal template addresses that you have to describe what is the benefit for the manufacturing SME, what is the benefit for the artist, what is the benefit for the technology supplier. So all of you should be coming together, doing something which is beneficial for all of you. Then comes, maybe you can hear some background noise because I'm at the airport. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it's not too disturbing and you can still hear me clearly. And the concept and the innovativeness, as you can see that this is again, there is something in green, which are instructions, and you can read them. You have to follow them, but they can be deleted later. So it is very important that what are we doing in the Better Factory. So Better Factory is a project where manufacturing SMEs are supported by the technology supplier, either by collaborative robots. So their manufacturing processes can be improved by the deployment of collaborative robots, or their manufacturing process, for example, material flow, transport of things in the factory can be optimized, can be made better by using mobile robots. It is also possible if you're working with the resource optimization. It means that the factory should be able to reduce the water, material use of energy, use of space, use of CO2, production of CO2, and so on. So if that's another possibility, and for production planning and simulation. So basically, if you automate certain processes in the factory, so if A happens, then B happens. If A, B, and C all happens, then D should happen. So some sort of logical implementation to automate the basic processes in the factory, that's also possible. And here it comes the important point that you must not have a proposal on 3D printing or some laser technology or something else, because I'm sure that there are hundreds of technologies out there where people are working, they are interested, and they should be applied. I'm sure they should be funded, but not from Better Factory, because every project has its own scope, and our scope is really on the manufacturing factories, which can benefit from either of these 4 technologies. And also the important part is that for all these 4 technologies are supplied by us. We provide the technology, we give you the software for the collaborative robot, we give you the software platform for the mobile robots, we give you the software for resource optimization. It's based on artificial intelligence, neural networks. We also give you a software for production planning and simulation, and you are required to use that. You are also allowed to bring your own software or use some open software components in collaboration with the software we provide, but not use whatever you would like to use. So this is very, very important. I would like to show you, I think this is a very important link you see here. And if you open it, you will see that there is all different description of all different technologies, their training material, videos, everything will be visible. So I think you should really look into that. So based on the goals, describe the details of the product automation solution. So describe what is the product, what is the automation solution, why this automation solution, or every of the proposal writer, every of the proposal have to choose at least 2 of these technologies. So we are providing 4 and you have to choose at least 2. As I said, the project shall plan to deployment of at least 2 technologies offered by the Better Factory. Explain how the developed product automation address the challenges of the manufacturing company. So if you are deploying collaborative robot or mobile robot or some other tool, you have to show that this is very important for the factory because it will improve their productivity process. It will also help you, for example, if you're a technology supplier, you can definitely say that, okay, by learning this tool, by getting access to because all these technologies are provided by other technology supplier, by actual companies. So it will allow you to build partnerships with them and get access to more technology and to offer it to the local customers. So this is the part which is about the excellence, and you will be evaluated how wonderful things you're going to do. The second criteria for which the proposal will be evaluated is the impact, like what kind of changes it's going to make in the society, in the business, for you and for others. So one of the very first thing is the business potential for different partners. So you should really describe that if we get this funding, if we get this work, if we get access to this technology, this support from the Better Factory, we will all have a possibility to build our business, to make our product more. For the manufacturing company, it could be building a new product, it could be finding a new market, it could be optimization of existing production, so basically increasing the productivity. For the for the technology supplier, it could be the possibility to reach out to more customers, to get more references and be able to go forward with the commercial deployment of the same technologies. And for the artist, it could be the design of a new product, it could be or it could be like an exhibition or something, whatever they are looking out of it. Go to market strategy. So one very important thing is that you can say that, okay, this is the business potential, this is the new product, or this is my new technology, what I'm going to build here. But you also have to show that how do you reach to this market? How do you make sure that you have the access? You can build a new product, but is there a demand for this new product? And even if there is a demand, do you have access to that market? So if that market is located somewhere in China and you're building it, you have to show that you have the connections and the links and the channels to reach out to that market. You should describe, because this is an expert to play with some technologies, we're going to create some story that, okay, this was very good for us. Now our company is going to be more productive, but you have to show that you have the means and the capability to really implement these technologies into your factory by your own investment or getting a loan from the bank or something like that. Lastly, you have to describe the environmental and social impact. So it's not only for you, this is a public money, so you have to think that, does it have a positive environmental impact? Does it have a better impact on the society, on the living, on the workers, on the people around you, and so on. Then the third and the last section on which you will be evaluated is the implementation. So how would you implement this whole project? And this is again, there is something in the green, so you just need to follow it, but you can remove it, you can delete it in the green highlighted. Now here is the thing, as you can see that most of the work plan, what you're going to do during the project is already described. You don't have to write any of it. The only thing you have to write is the name of the manufacturing company and name of the artist and name of the technology supplier. So here, the only thing, that's what you have to write. What you're going to do during the project has already been written for you. All the milestones are defined, all the deliverables you have to make has been defined. You will be paid in lump sum, as you know, that we are not going to ask you any detail about the money we have given you. The only way is that you deliver us the things what we have asked for, and you get the money what we have promised you. So the first task is to complete an individual mentoring plan. Basically, this individual mentoring plan is this proposal, what you will write, this one, plus there will be some schedule that how often we will meet, what support you will need from our side. So it's the mentoring plan from our side. And basically we will sign it, and that will become part of the contract. So it will also define the services you are going to receive from us. You have to set up the project on the marketplace, on the RAMP. So the platform we provide is the RAMP Robotics and Automation Marketplace. And this is the platform every one of you will be using. You will have to define the project requirements, which is basic. Basically, it goes even further detail. Identify readily available IoT agents and so on. So basically, every one of you will be using this IoT platform, which we will also provide. End of every task, you see providing structured feedback about the execution. So we will also interview you about the execution of this whole bot package and task. And these will be the two deliverables you will make for basically individual mentoring plan and requirements for the project. So basically here you will describe the exact requirements, and that means what IoT agents, what hardware, what software, and what things you will need to buy and implement during the project. Once again, here, this is the task number 2. Here you can see that the objectives are you will have to require to set up 2 different projects on the RAMP, performing an iterative process. This is actually the task which will be described by Rodolfo later on, so I will skip this one. But this is actually the collaboration of the artist with the during the project. So what role they will be playing. Then this is the task, which is the technology supplier will be working. So basically the requirements you have defined. So the basic hardware you should get, and the IoT platform you should acquire, actually just download from us, and start deploying it into the factory, start making connections of the machines and the robots and the people and whatever is needed to this IoT platform. Then demonstrate the automation solution. So as you have promised 2 automation solutions, so you demonstrate those automation solution and provide us structured feedback. As in last time, you will provide us the structured feedback. Again, nothing needs to be written here. This is what you will be doing, so you don't have to write any of this. Then there is this task number 4. In the task number 4, we have this because after your proposal is selected, you will be evaluated by ethical and social and legal from the ethical, legal, and social point of view. And most likely you will receive certain recommendation from you. For example, if you're collecting data from the people, if you're collecting using collaborative robots, it's important that you follow some legal requirement, you follow the ethical laws of the society. So there will be certain additional things will be allocated to you, and you must comply to them. And these will be included. These will be included here. Then we have the last task for you is the business scale up, which happens basically you will be working for it during the whole project. But fundamentally it starts to happen in the very end, that you have to go to the market. So it's about scaling up your business, is making the connections. Actually, the business plan you have developed and built and worked for is to finally try to help you to go forward. And this goes for all three partners, It's not only for one part. In the very end, you should write about your team. Each of you should describe that what you have been doing. Do you have experience of such kind of projects before you as a, or you don't? And remember, there is no positive and negative in that. If you're writing that you have been participating in many such projects before, that can also be a negative thing to say that basically you keep going for funding in these kind of projects and nothing has been coming up. So, and actually you have to remember, if you have been doing something before, you cannot ask the money for doing, you can only ask the money to go forward. So it's not necessarily a positive thing to not to be doing a lot of these kind of projects. It's also not a positive thing to be not part of this before either. So you have to present your needs and what you have been doing in a proper way to say that actually what you have done before did produce results, and now you're going to go forward with this. So, and all three have this requirement. It's not necessary, as I said, that there is no negative or positive in either scenario in this. I think that's the end of the presentation from my side. Please read every deliverable you will have to make, because these are all there and you will have to make them. And most of them are just videos, pictures, and demonstrations. Other than one of them, like where you have to write the requirement specification. And we will provide templates for that. If you have questions, I can answer it in the end.
Thank you very much, Ali. So as Ali said, you can write your question on the chat and we can go for them at the end of the session. So now is the turn of Rodolfo, that is going to talk about the SME and artist collaboration. So thank you, Rodolfo, for joining. If you can share your screen, I leave the floor for you.
Thank you, Mariapat. Good morning, everybody. Or maybe it's early afternoon, depending on where you are in Europe. So obviously you've heard quite a lot already from Antonio and from Ali, and I'm sure none of you joined this call very fresh to the idea of Better Factory. So you probably have been looking around, maybe already have been talking to potential consortium members, or you have a consortium. So what I'm going to do is probably repeat some things, but maybe in a slightly different way, in a slightly different approach, hopefully to clarify some of the questions you had or you have. And if not, of course, later on we have an extensive Q&A, but also after this session, the questions can be asked continuously. Let me take you through some of the main ideas behind these KTEs and how and why artists, SMEs, and tech suppliers are invited to collaborate in this. So, as you probably know, the starting point of the experiment is the SME, is a manufacturing company somewhere in Europe, a relatively small company, maybe in the process of digitization, maybe not yet. That is not a requirement for our side, but at least with an ambition to develop innovatively in terms of technology deployment and in terms of production. So why we do that is for two reasons. One is because we believe that manufacturing SMEs are the future of manufacturing. Well, they're also the present. It is the most important part of manufacturing anyhow, and it will remain that way. And two, it's often very difficult for manufacturing SMEs to get access to technology solutions, technology partners, but also creative collaborators in order to be innovative. And that is what we're doing here. And of course, we're looking to financially, technically, and artistically support 9 of these experiments for next year. What is a KTE about? KTE consists of two different ambitions. On the one side, there's an ambition related to either existing or new products or services that the manufacturer already produces or aspires to produce. Really often related to a specific product or specific service that this company is wishing to develop further, add to a new market, offer to a new market, or develop in the first place. On the other side of the same project is the factory itself and the ambition to turn the factory into a more digitized system. These two come together in the KTE, and they come together in the collaboration of the three entities that you are bringing together. On the side of the product, services, or processes, this can be about prototyping materials, materials in the flow, materials outside of the flow, waste, for instance. It could be about prototyping technologies. Are they using existing technology in the factory in a completely different way, or working with new technologies that will be added throughout the KTE and the Better Factory project? Or it could be around the processes in the factory. This side of the KTE is mostly the role of the artist in your company. So I saw that many artists are here today. We are talking about artists because we believe that the artistic approaches, artistic methods towards experimenting and prototyping on these themes can actually deliver new insights, new routes, new outcomes compared to more traditional ways of approaching it. But the artist is requested to work on the premises or with the possibilities of the manufacturing SME and the technological possibilities in there. So it's not a completely free-shaped, I as an artist want to do A, and that's what I'm going to do with this manufacturer type of project. It is very much in connection to the needs and the challenges of the manufacturing SME. On the other side of this plot is the factory itself. So it is very important that SMEs have a current operation. It doesn't have to be very big. It can be relatively small, but there has to be an ongoing production facility in place, capacity in place, that the KTE can look at in terms of either the production resources or the production planning, simulation, robots that either are already there or are aspired to be added to the factory, or the logistics. Now, these four are the same four categories that were shown earlier, I think by both Antonio and Ali. The four categories where also software solutions are offered by the Better Factory Consortium in the name of APPS, and the four categories of which each KTE must select at least two to be building their Better Factory project around. What we are looking for in the end is that hopefully these two sides come together as much as possible. That is, of course, the hope for the most integrated and most innovative and ambitious projects. So we're starting with what can be done in the factory on two of these four domains. And of course, how can the manufacturing SMEs, a product portfolio or service portfolio also be enhanced and renewed as a consequence of that, or as a result of that. Once the KTEs are running, you're not alone with the three of you. There's a whole support system around it that we provide. There will be mentors that were mentioned earlier, and they will be in very close contact on an individual basis. Each artist will be mentored, each technology company will be mentored, and each SME will be mentored. But there's also a support structure around it, for instance, with the APPS developers who have software tools available to test as part of the project. What is also preset or offered is a structure of working in the KTEs. And this is related to the work package of the work plan that Ali just skipped in his story. He said Rodolfo will talk a bit more about this. That is what this is about. So imagine you will be amazing us, hopefully, with very interesting plans on how you want to become a better factory in this constellation with all of these actions. You get the project, you get awarded, you're going to start in February, and then you basically get a year or even a little bit more than a year from us to work on that. That is a very long time to start working on very experimental type of activities and actions. And that is why we cut it in a couple of cycles. In the first round, we did that very specifically for the work of the artist. In the second round, we're also going to look at doing this much more integrated in the whole KTE. So also the APPS side and the tech side will partially be working along these lines. We cut it basically in 3 different cycles of 3 months. And although every project will be different and every approach will be different, grosso modo, all 3 will have a first cycle of, yes.
Rodolfo, give me a second. Maria, are you checking the waiting room? Because apparently some people are trying to get in, just to make sure. Sorry,
No, but no one is waiting. I'm checking and they have to try it again.
There was some message. All right. Sorry, Rodolfo.
Sorry.
No worries.
Keep going. So sorry.
Doesn't matter. So I was saying, you're going to work on this for a year, and we cut this year in a couple of blocks. The first block is relatively explorative. That also means that we don't expect you to have all the answers on what you're going to be working on in your proposal phase. We want you to be clear about the ambitions, about the way you're going to work on these ambitions, the way you're going to collaborate, as was explained earlier. But we don't expect you to know exactly what is going to happen, because this is supposed to be an innovation experiment. The first round is also partly to put together with the mentors and with the team to work on defining what you're exactly going to do. The second round is around doing the first experiments and the first tests in that direction. And then the third round of 3 to 4 months is about concluding that into some applications and solutions that hopefully will stay within the factory or will lead to improved states of being of the other partners, the artists and the tech suppliers later on as well. So this is just to bring you with us that, yes, it is true. We do not expect from any of you to come up with a project plan in the sense of this is the task and activities we're going to work on. That is all part of the set requirements. We expect you to work on putting together an ambitious yet realistic set of interventions, both on the technology side and on the artistic side, that that convince us that this KTE is worthwhile supporting and financing. So building a consortium. Hopefully many of you are already in this process if you're interested in participating, because the deadline is a month from now, November 15th, and that is relatively short. So if you do not have any partners yet, I suggest you you get anxious quite quickly, because it is really important to have that done right in time. Each KTE consists of each proposal consortium consists of a manufacturing SME, an artist, and a tech supplier. This manufacturing SME can either be big or small, but as said before, it must have a production capacity in place. What is even more important is the open-mindedness and the interest of the SME towards innovation and ambitious goals. It doesn't need to have a history in this domain, but since you're not going to be working with a traditional solution provider or proven solution provider, but you're going to be working with all kinds of new ideas, questions, and directions, it is important to have at least somebody within the premises of the manufacturing SME who likes to be working on this with the partners and has the motivation to experiment, even if those experiments can fail, because that is also part of public funded experimental budgets. Success is not a requirement in terms of successful implementation. What is also here is the KTEs are open to anybody, but in the Better Factory Consortium, we have defined 6 priority categories of activity. You can find them on the website. And we have 6 partners that are connected to each of these groups in different countries. Now, it is desirable that we work in these clusters and that we work in these regions. It doesn't mean that if you are not connected to any of these clusters or any of these regions, you have a lesser chance of being successful. But it does mean that if you have an opportunity to work with a partner from those regions or those clusters, we would like that you try that. Many of them are in the pre-selected list, but again, not all of them, it is not a requirement, and it also will not cause any minus points in the evaluation if you are not one of these companies or you're not working with them. Then on the side of the technology partner, as said before, each KTE will have a technology partner, but in the Better Factory Consortium, we also have technology partners with solutions, and they need to collaborate very actively. That means that the technology provider must have an interest in collaborating with not only the factory and not only the artist, which is already quite a lot, but also other tech developers that we offer and bring in from the consortium. What is also very important is that the interventions that are proposed in the proposal are actually going to be physically tested, or the interventions are going to be physically tested on site as part of the KTE. From experience in the first round, we had that some of these ambitions later on proved to be too complicated or too time and finance consuming to realize. We don't want that. We rather have you be a little bit less ambitious, but more realistic, and say, okay, if we're going to test a cobot, or we're going to test a UAV, or we're going to test something else, a sensoring system, actually do it as part of the KTE to get the results. Just the preparations in the KTE is not enough. And of course, again, concerning these 4 different categories, it is important that the tech supplier that is part of your team, or if you as a tech supplier, inform yourself on these 4 domains. And of course, the 2 that you're going to be working on in the project more specifically, and that you convince us that you know what you're talking about, either through past experience or profound preparations, knowing about what you're going to be working on and doing. And then lastly, and the most complicated to many, the profile of the artist. We define an artist as either independently operating, or once they are a bit bigger, in a studio setting, operating, maker, creative. That means that somebody who is employed by a university and says that they are doing creative research is not an artist. Somebody being employed by a creative company and working on for them is not an artist. An artist is mainly working independently. That does not mean an artist cannot also be affiliated with a university or a company or somebody else. Perfectly fine. But the grounds upon which we're going to select artists is their track record, their experience, and their motivation as an independent maker. Because these projects are heavily informed in either material experimentation and or technological exploration, it is important that these artists know what they're talking about. So in the proposal, you're requested to describe backgrounds and past experiences. And in terms of the artist, it's important that we get the sense that the artist is comfortable around or has an interesting approach towards either the materials or the technologies that are going to be part of this collaborative project. Of course, it is also important from the artist side that they are open and interested in collaboration, in collaborative processes. This is not a traditional art call or art project in the sense that as an artist, you get the project, you get the money, and you get to work in your own pace and in your own setting and in your own ways towards a result. No, this is from the beginning going to be a highly collaborative, open project between the partners. We are going to request intermediate outcomes from the artists that potentially also can be shared externally. And you have to be aware of that and open to that as well. And you have to be allowing yourself as an artist to also be informed and shaped partially by the inputs of the other partners in your collaboration. If you're not up for that, please do not join. And then the background of the artist, that can be in many, many different areas. But I just listed a few that are most relevant, probably, when it comes to the challenges that are going to be part of the KTEs. So artists that work with data visualizations or AI algorithms, artists that are already used in programming, building, or interacting with robotics, artists who are used to try uncanny things with materials, see how they respond to different scenarios, situations, or recycling materials. But also artists who are much more working on a biological level can be very interesting in certain projects, especially, for instance, the SMEs that come from the food domain. Artists who are much more experienced and interested in trying to push the limits of production technologies, ways of how you construct objects, or the size of plates, sheets of steel that can come out of a factory process, you name it. Artists who are working on those kind of extreme ambitious production ideas are also very suitable for many of these KTEs. And lastly, digital crafts, and you can mention things like 3D printing or additive manufacturing, who are often in that side. So what you see here is that the artists that are already responding to Better Factory in the first round, but also here, and some of you are here today, and the artists we are looking for are not traditional artists in the sense of a painter or a sculptor or something else. No, these are technologically savvy, often very highly science influenced or informed artists who work on very specific material technology domains. And that is important because it's that base of knowledge and experience that also makes them an equal partner in a collaboration like this. And that is what we are looking for. We're not looking for artists to visualize the idea of somebody else. No, we're looking for artists to push the project beyond limits through their artistic approach. A little bit about building a proposal. I'm not going to go through the proposal, as of course others have done before me. But as said before, there's a lot of information online. The guide for applicants also shows some demo projects or some sort of ideal projects. If you've read them, you've come across them. They explain how a collaboration could look like and how challenges could be formed. Don't take this as the truth or as the thing to aspire for. They are just a set of examples, inspirational examples, hopefully, to give you an idea on how a KTE challenge can be built up. And of course, the proposal template. Now, I want to say two things about building this proposal. Of course, you have to go through everything and do everything in the best possible way. What we will be looking for in quite some detail is two main things that need to be right in order to have a good chance of being successful. First is the concept and innovativeness. So proposals that come up with some sort of generic question or generic challenge. Yeah, of course, we're going to work on the materials, or yeah, of course, we're going to work on the resources. Sure, that's what we're going to do because that's asked. They will never make it. We really want you to demonstrate that through some conversations with the three partners, that's also why it's important to find each other quite some time before the deadline, that you have been able to develop an innovative idea that fits the scope of Better Factory, but it is really your idea and it fits the needs and the ambitions of the partners involved. And secondly, on the impacts, it is an innovation project, it is an experimentation project. It is a project that can fail, and some of these projects do fail, or at least parts of them fail. But it is also a project with the intent that if what you do is successful, then it gives you such a push towards impact compared to your competitors or your business or your industries or the market you serve, that you would never ever have been able to achieve in the same amount of time in another setup. So making use of this collaboration setup, making use of everybody that you have around you, and of course also the money, will hopefully aspire to a certain business impact, maybe also creative impact, ecological impact, but primarily a business impact that if you manage to achieve that, proves that you have become a better factory. or maybe also a better artist or a better technology company. But when building the proposal, please try to keep those two things in mind and spend time on working on your own ideas to respond to those two aspects mainly, because if you don't, and we've seen too many of those in the first round, there's not a good chance of success. That's it from my side, Maria Paz. I hope that that added something to the rest, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Adolfo.